All right, everybody. Well, thanks for making it today. Just a little heads up, I am under the weather. If you can't hear that, sorry in advance. I might need to stop and collect myself for a moment. So, Chim, in those moments, I'll probably hand it off to you just so I can recover. Anyway, well, today we want to talk to you a little bit about the Steam release that's upcoming. It's a big deal. It's going to be going on July 6th, which is a Thursday. And that will be earlier in the day and probably it could take up potentially several hours. I don't anticipate it will, but I'm just going to throw that out there for you. And what I mean is any potential interruption to live services. So that's the first part. We were trying to do it a little bit sooner. We had an initial date of June 26th, however, due to several scheduling issues that were unforeseen, it just required us to take a step back and reevaluate. So sorry for that rather quick adjustment, but it's important that we did that and took care of it immediately. The Steam release, when we first went on there, which was in September of 2017, it's hard to believe that it's been that long. We went on there in early access, even though we had a game that's been out since 2001, which people kind of jab at, which is fine. We chose that route because we wanted to incorporate, we knew there was going to be changes we were going to have to bring in, right? We knew that it was a different demographic and a different set of expectations, which was totally acceptable. The time over this last almost 6 years now has given us a lot of opportunity to not only develop our team to be able to do more, but also just collectively have a greater knowledge of what we need to be doing. And you're seeing those results now as we're pushing the game over to Unreal, which we're not going to get into a lot of detail on that today. We'll certainly answer some questions. I assume there are some, and we'll do our best to answer what we can. But think about it for a moment. The game is very, very different, ranging from how supply is driven and maneuvered to it being now available on the front line and the rear line towns adjacent behind that. And then, now we have proximity AOs, we have integrated voice communications, we have a 64-bit operating system support, which we did not have. We have a server that went from Dallas to Portland, and now it's over in New Jersey, which is about 4 times beefier than the one we had in Portland. The one in Portland was beefier than the one we had in Dallas, and the bandwidth capability is now 10 times comparatively. So 4 times the hardware opportunity, and then 10 times the bandwidth. That's pretty solid. When we click the button, which is essentially what it is at this stage, to go and transition from early access to a full release, immediately following, the Steam algorithms are going to provide us a new launch recognition through their store pages. Anybody who still has the game wishlisted or who are otherwise subscribers or fans are also going to be notified. And the number of people that signed up before was pretty substantial. They'll also be notified as well. The last time we actually did this back in 2017, Steam's concurrent population of users online was essentially, it's about 12.25 million on average per month, and that's of Steam users logged into the Steam client. As of January 2023, that's averaging about 30 million. What that tells us pretty easily is that's 2.5 times and potentially a little bit more than that, the number of traffic we can anticipate. So we're predicting at this stage a 6 times or greater influx of population coming to the game. Now, these are all just guesstimates. There's no guarantee, so don't hold us to that. And it's all based on the performance of what Steam actually does to promote it for us. I guess the point of saying that is to help set your expectations that this is really the next big, and if not the final, until we start to either get Choke Point out publicly or otherwise World War II Online 2.0 in early access or something. The last big round in the cannon that we have to get players here. And it's really important for us to prepare as a community body, which is why we've asked you to show up today so we can kind of discuss and figure out what we need to do on each end. So CRS has been actively busy getting all these things prepped. Um, Now we need to talk about the community side of it and what else can be done. Jim, I'm going to pause for a moment. Can you help fill in the blanks, and perhaps from a community point of view, maybe referencing squad development in that article?
Yeah, let me, if you guys see the screen that I'm sharing here, I just pulled up the article. And, so obviously we, we've got we've got some changes coming up for in preparation for the Steam release. Try to encourage players um, to stick with World War II Online to actually give it a chance. One of the issues we had, or one of the trends that we saw last time, we had a 30-day trial um, on the when we did Greenlight on Steam. We had a big flux of players for that 30-day period, and then it just dropped off again. So one of the big things that we're doing now is we're doing a 90-day premium trial for the Steam sign up. So um, they will, once somebody signs up a new account, they'll get 90 days of a free trial compared to a couple weeks what we have now, and 30 days is what we had when we went on the Steam platform. Um, the Once again with we understand the premium subscription is not something that a lot of people are going to jump into right off the get-go. So the DLCs have been somewhat popular. So in according with that, we're doing a little more. We've dropped the pricing on a lot of the DLCs. So it's a couple of them. I think two of them stayed the same, but the rest of them dropped down significantly. One
That's
of
right, and those are actually staged and ready now. So the rates that you see on the Steam store page now are what they were going to be, which is a fairly, more than half or greater drop.
Yeah. So um, anyway, so that's already been implemented. We do have the return of the starter subscription, which is only going to be available on Steam, not through the organic channels. That's the $7.99 price, which is what we've always had it at. And we've actually adjusted what equipment is actually put into the starter and also the DLCs. We did a refresh because we've added so much content since then, since 2017, since we did, originally got onto the platform of Steam. So, some of the equipment was in the free play stuff, that was in the starter, so we've adjusted things around. We've spent a lot of time going over those internally. So, um, and then, so a returning veterans bonus, returning vets and free players will see an increased weapon set during the 90-day period as well to encourage attendance.
Can
And,
I jump in for a sec?
oh, absolutely.
Go ahead and scroll back up, please. Thank you. Like I said, I'm a little under the weather, so I apologize for any interruption there, Jim. So I wanted to kind of talk a little bit more about the 90-day premium trial. That's a very big thing. We've never done that before. What we noticed is it comes from a good place. Basically, we noticed a rather large influx of population when we released on Steam initially, and then we saw after that 30-day trial a rather large dip. And it's no surprise really when you think about, well, this stuff is free, I got all access. Suddenly, now it's like, what the heck, where'd it go? Screw this, I'm out. Um, because we've only got one real shot in the cannon, what we wanted to do was to provide an opportunity for World War II Online and these people who are coming in, which we're very excited about, to have the greatest opportunity to understand what our community is. And that part's important. It's not just the game here, it's the community, you guys. It really is, in my opinion, however biased that may be, being here 21 years now, is second to none in our best moments. I think it's also really important for us at this moment to say, hey, look, the normal stuff, that the gripes, we can't tell you what to do, but we want to encourage you that losing your stuff on side chat or on voice isn't going to help keep these guys. It's going to turn them off and they're going to leave. So the 90 days premium trial is not intended to in any way disrespect our existing subscribers. It is not intended to be something where we see people go, you know what, I'm going to go do that. That sounds awesome. I'm not going to pay my subscription. Again, you could. That would be very bad for the game. I don't encourage that. We're taking the risk with good intention to increase the game's population. Now, here's the deal. Not only are we providing a 90-day premium trial for signups for that first 30-day period, but for that actual 90-day period as well. What I mean is, for the first 90 days that we transition, so as of July 6th, 90 days after that, we're going to be providing that same 90-day trial signup. The point for that is that we have a continuous and hopefully large influx of players to the game, and the whole objective is to increase retention. And so that's that. I wanted to explain that further. Of course, it also talked about returning vets and our existing free players. We'll look at bumping up their access a little bit too, not to the extent of a premium trial or anything like that, but enough to justify, hey, this is a good experience. That's what we're looking for, to give World War II Online the much-needed players that an MMO requires right now and for an extended period of time. That's the goal. Chim, go ahead.
All right. Here, let me scroll down a little bit more. So, I mean, this is just the latest article that we pushed up, or that we published out. So, all this information is available. But we just wanted to go over some of this stuff. The intention is not to go over the whole article, but we have other stuff to talk about. But the increased bandwidth that we had, that's already been established, and Pilot's in there if he wants to talk a little bit more about that. But one of the biggest things that we see in game right now is with the proximity AOs, the player, they're not being utilized. And most of the time there's just one, even though there may be 3 or 4 AOs going or available, there's only one that's being established. And you guys, being in the events that we have and stuff, yeah, we get some great battles in single towns and stuff like that, but you're going to notice that lag, and that's going to be consistent with the amount of players that we're anticipating when we go into Steam. And that's one of the biggest hurdles that we're going to have. That people, we need to spread out these battles, and we've said it several times. Even though our servers are able to handle thousands of people at one shot, it needs to be spread out so they're not all within a quarter mile or a half a mile of each other inside the game world, because it's not going to be pleasant for anybody at that point. Pilot, did you have anything you wanted to contribute to that? Or Zoom, for that matter?
I mean, it goes just like Chim said. When we've provided an opportunity for the player body to rally people up on their own accord and go initiate AOs. With 6 times the amount of population potentially being boosted to the server, if you put them in a small area, it's going to choke the server. And more importantly, the experience for the user is going to be really bad. They're going to crash, they're going to burn, they're going to be pissed, and they're going to blame the server, when in fact it's like, hey, it's not meant for all that right there in that quarter mile or whatever it is. So the point is, the community needs to be prepared for a relatively good-sized influx of personnel and help guide people, um, and to distribute battles north to south, center, but not like, one town, right? Like, for example, if we had Antwerp with every portion of it AO'd, that would be really, really tight because the crossover would be significant. Whereas if you had, say, Bergen op Zoom and Verdun as your AOs, and then maybe some more in between there, that would be a far better distribution of people. We can't really control this because if a particular mission is very popular and we're pushing people, and suddenly we've got 50 to 100 people on that one mission for that one side, which sounds really awesome, and it is definitely doable. It could cause a lot of problems, especially if the other side is bringing that many. So just need to be prepared for that. And, there's nothing in terms of nothing more at this stage server side that we can really do to manage that. So it's very, very dependent on you guys to help distribute the AOs around. Hopefully that makes sense.
And as far as the servers themselves, they are beefy. They have been, we've heard, it says in the article, we've quadrupled our server computing power, and that is the fact. They are not the same servers that we used to run on. They are very, very capable. And yeah, once again, it's just a matter of when you've just got a crap ton of people into a single town. Once again, we've seen that with some of the ops that we've had. It just, the band whipping around and stuff, and the lag and stuff like that is going to be very prevalent. So that's one of the things that we're concerned about. But like Zoom said, there's not much we can do about it. It's
not at this stage. No. Our development resources are being deployed to the Unreal conversion. So what we got is what we got at this stage. Some other issues that may exacerbate, and this is for any day of the week, like you see that guy, you shoot him, he didn't die. What the hell? Why is that happening? I'm going to explain this for some of our players who may not know this. That doesn't necessarily mean they're hacking, just so you know. It could be that their connection to the server is not as great as yours, and the time to communicate, like when they fire around at you, it goes from wherever they're at geographically to the server, from the server to your machine, and back and forth and so on. So if you're closer to the server or have a better ping and their connection may not be great, that will contribute to that as well. Because we have one worldwide server serving a worldwide player base, there are going to be problems. And that's just one of the flaws in the overall design of having a single world war that we have. It's also really awesome. But, other games you play, they have localized, U.S. West Coast, U.S. East, Euro 1, or Australia 1, It's not like that. Everybody across the world goes to this one New Jersey server. The majority of our players being in North America, and the next major chunk of players being in Europe. That's why we chose New Jersey as the perfect middle ground between these two continents to be able to communicate. So we've done the best we can with what we got. At this point, I think preparing for the Rat Chat and talking about the community action and rebuilding squads, that entire article is highly important to briefly address. And then from there, I think we can answer some of your guys' questions. Thank you for letting us communicate what we got so far to you. Let's talk a little bit about, okay, we get this new infusion of players. What are we going to do? Thank you for showing all that, Chim. Thank you. Basically, like I said a couple of times now, this will be the last major canon that we have. It's imperative to not just sit back and wonder and go, okay, I hope that this works out. I think that's the worst thing that we could be doing. We need to get squads in a position that are ready to accept new players, that have recruiting flags on, that have recruiters who are motivated to engage these new players, and to bring them part of your squad. With the introduction of integrated voice communications, now obviously we're here on Discord. We still use Discord. It's not going away. It's going to maintain a big part of our community. That's great. and it allows for much easier access to squad voice if you want to use that. We also have a squad channel in game. I don't know how many of you guys are using that, but certainly available. But for now, the majority of communications are taking place on target. So I guess we'll keep it simple and say you should really check that article. If one of you guys who are here can post that Community Action Rebuilding Squads article, that would be awesome. So other people can start looking at it. And hopefully squad commanders, executives, recruiters, or just generally a squad mate. If you're here and you're representing your squad, please get with your command team and figure out what you guys can do to help the game. By us bringing these players in here, there's no guarantee they're just going to stick. By you doing what you're supposed to be doing in terms of recruiting and retaining and training these guys, there's no guarantee that they're going to stick. But the more that we prepare for this, the more we talk about it and share strategies and what works, and more importantly, just make that commitment and get engaged. Like, this is what we need to do as a community body, the more you're going to see. Otherwise, this thing is going to come and it's going to go, and that's it. And I think everybody here who's here obviously cares about the game, who wants to see the absolute best possible outcome. For the question that was asked, July 6th, Thursday, that's when the Steam launch from early access to full release is. Okay, Chim, I don't really have more other than answering some questions. Did you have any last things?
No, not really. It's once again, just trying to. The whole goal of this rat chat was to communicate with you guys and kind of keep you in line with the schedule of things and how we could kind of make this go a little bit smoother. We've learned a few things from our initial presence on Steam, and we're doing anything and everything we can on our end to make it as good as possible.
Yeah.
Whether it's the back end stuff or whatever. And the whole point of everything that we're doing is to get more people into the game, and that's when our game shines. Is when we have a good amount of people on there, and I mean we get into those huge battles and what we call the World War II online moments. That's what we're trying to aim for is people to have those World War II online moments.
If they do get them, they're going to stick. We also have a series of 4 operations that we're planning over the initial 2-month period. So it's going to be busy. There's going to be a lot going on. We've also got some influencers who are going to be bolstering this as well. So things are looking good. Okay, so I'm going to take a bit of a gamble here. I'd ask you guys to please be respectful, but definitely communicate. We want to hear some of your questions and hopefully be able to answer them. And we want to restrict it to 1 question at a time. Please don't go off with 10. We can always loop back to you. But by using the chat, hopefully you guys know how to use the chat here. If you could just simply, if you have something you want to ask or say, whatever, this is a pretty open forum, just hit like the number 1 and then hit enter. That will tell me you want to talk. And then I'll call on you and we'll make it happen. All right, Cal, you're up. Go ahead.
Yes, I was just wondering if we're getting local, like the proximity voice chat back, or we're just going to be sticking with Target.
At this time, we're going to be sticking with Target. The development effort involved with getting local doesn't really compute with our need to transition over to Unreal further. It wasn't really being utilized that much. And the third reason would be that the Target chat is far more inclusive. If people are using Target chat in-game voice, which is a huge point, a really huge point to hit on, at the Steam launch, we must get as many of you veterans using integrated voice comms, because when that new player shows up, hearing those things on, they'll feel like they're part of something. Think of when you first got involved without voice comms. I mean, you had no idea what the hell was going on. So that's what we're trying to solve. That's why voice comms are here. But good question.
Right.
Who's that? We too low? Who's that? I hope I didn't botch your name. WITU_LO. Now's your chance to talk if you got something. Okay, we'll come back. I don't hear you. Check your push to talk key there. KRM 92, go ahead.
So I didn't catch the whole conversation. I know you're spending time with the Unreal. Would it be an easy code to where you couldn't AO Roermond and Roermond West at the same time? Like if we went from one AO to two and we had the people for it, it would automatically kick it over. Could you keep that from happening so that way you don't lag out?
The only way to do that would be to manipulate the parameters of how far the proximity is, or the EWS range is. So it could be done, but it would have impact on everything else. It's not a perfect system, so that would be what it would take. So we'd have to evaluate that and determine if that's something we want to do. Good question, though. All right, Flip 644. Again, if you guys have other questions and want another opportunity to talk, feel free. Just like if you're going for your second request, type 2, and then your third, 3, and so on. But Flip 644, go ahead.
Can you hear me, Sue?
Yep.
Hey, so I know the goal is to get as many new players as possible. Are we? I know you may not want. I don't know if you want to answer it, but I mean, are we at a critical point where if we don't get an influx of players, this game might be in trouble? Or can you? How many do we need to get with this launch to move forward?
So there's no threat in our continued operation, so don't worry about that. So long as we have our community body that we have continuing to provide their subscription, which we're wholly grateful for, including everyone who just backed up our successful fundraiser. Thank you very much. We're going to be okay. I think that the impetus for us needing to move forward and doing this Steam launch stems from our concurrent user population. There are things, the greatest content that we have in our toolbox is the players. It's a player-driven game, and it's PvP. The AI that we have is very limited. They're immobile. They're not, there to provide extra content for people. So that's where it comes from. It's not a threat. Everybody breathe. We're okay. We just need to get the ball rolling and get our concurrent user population up, which is why we've went ahead and provided an extremely graceful amount of time for these folks to stick around. We don't want to see that dip in population right after their 30 days are done. Good question. Anders 2334, go ahead.
Is my mic good?
Coming in 3x5. Let's try and speak up a little.
Is my mic good?
I'll turn you up. Go ahead.
Is my mic good?
Did you say is your mic good? Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes. Okay. I have a question. When do you think the map will extend south? I know we have a bit of north. The map extends a bit north now, but when do you think the map's gonna go extend a bit south, like towards France?
Yeah, it's a good question. I know that we have TR6Al, who's our terrain producer. He's here. We have extended the south a little bit, just so you know, compared to when CRS 2.0 did take over. Al, without providing any sort of committal dates, do you want to talk about your development plan for terrain and increasing World War II Online's map?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Oh.
We've actually got a bunch of towns down south that are already made. Quite a number of them. I won't tell where. Well, they're basically south, mostly southeast. It's a matter of placing them and linking them, which takes a lot of time. But as you've seen, I can basically only place probably 15 or 20 at the most in one session, effectively because QA has to go and test them all so I can go and fix them. So I've been kind of dropping it down. I've been doing other things as well. I don't just do that. So with my time, in the process of getting the additional access factories, I've had to make towns up there as well. We're doing some fine tuning to that. So that's changing a little bit in an upcoming update. That includes changing the French factories, which means adding a few more towns and a little bit of the English as well. Again, I can't go into too much detail. So down south, southwest, there aren't any new towns built, so I have to do them all by hand, which takes a fair amount of time. We've found that putting them southeast doesn't do anything. The Axis have a tendency to just cut them off. They surrender, bang, they're gone. They don't get played in. The ones up north are not getting played in, which is one of the reasons we've had to change a bit of the factory work. We're hoping they will. There's lots of spaces, because I've put towns further out, there's lots of spaces in between for me to fill in. But again, the players have to use them.
Good answer.
South, yeah. Okay, I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, no, that's plenty. We want to leave them a little hungry, Al. We don't want to tell them
Yeah.
everything.
Okay, thank you very much. Oh, could I ask one more thing? If I do
In a follow-up question, yeah, just type 2, and then we'll come back to you, Anders. It's no
okay,
problem.
thank you very much. Thank you. Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
thank you very much. All right, Pulford, you're up. Go ahead, man. Pulford, are you there? All right, Pulford, we'll come back to you. I'm not hearing you.
I'm here. Sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a follow-up question on that, and then a little bigger question.
Okay, right now, just reserve
just
your time
about
to just
just
one.
Tongren. Yeah, I was just asking about if Tongren is getting fixed soon because of the invisible
Yes.
fortresses. Okay, thank you. And my second question is something that you said earlier, Zoom, about as far as I remember, back in December or whatever, we had the earlier Steam launch. We had an influx of players, and there were so many players that the server started to lagging a little bit. And I'm worried about can the server actually handle a double influx of players? Because let's say on a regular Sunday when there are many people on, it works. But if you double that, are we going to see the server starting to lag and everything going bananas?
If the player body, you guys, whether you're HC or not, do not distribute AOs across the map, you will experience problems that we can't solve. The only solution is to get players spread out. You got to, and I talked about this earlier, but again, if you had an AO in Verdun or an AO in, I don't know, Wilhelmstad or Bergen-op Zoom, or that sort of spread, and then several more in between, but if you'd be okay. And with the influx of players, the number of AOs that are available now, and we haven't really seen it due to our current population size, but we have made the number of AOs available quite a bit more with proximity AOs. So as we see what we're anticipating, just so you know, we're anticipating about a 6 times increase in population. That's what we're anticipating. And we may see more than that. I don't know. You sound like a chipmunk, and I don't know what's going on there, but you should probably fix that. Anyways, so yeah, it will choke and it will have tremendous problems if we do not have AOs distributed. That is something we need you guys to make absolutely clear and do your part to spread out. We don't have a technical solution to resolve that because no game is supposed to have hundreds of people in a single spot. It's just not. Now, the way it works is with our view distance, players come in and out of your visibility range, and that also differs based on the class type or branch that you're in. So we do have some things working for us. In the Steam launch, which was September of 2017, it's been a while now. Excuse me. We had again a server that was in Dallas. It had substantially less bandwidth capability and substantially less horsepower and substantially more bugs with it compared to where we're at today. We have 10 times the bandwidth. We have more than 4 times the hardware compared to, in terms of computing power. So server-wide, yeah, we're doing good. Also, our systems, it's called a cluster, or the number of servers that communicate with each other, their communication times have been dramatically improved due to virtualization. So we're talking like 0 to 1 millisecond communication time between processes. So we've done about as much as we can to be prepared for this at this time.
Zoom?
So I hope, yes,
You can hear me now?
yes.
All right, I got something to say about this
Sure.
pick also. Years ago, we had a lot more population under, like Zoom said, older servers and everything. We used to spread the population out. You know, we used to have 4 AOs all over the map. So what has happened over the years is everybody gets tunnel vision to one AO. Everybody, we got to take that one town. That's our goal and focus. And that's when you start getting the lag. Got to remember, there's a visual limit that the PCs can only handle. It's not, you know, our side is beefed up. You use a Mac, you use a Windows or whatever. There is a visual limit. Once you start getting on that visual limit, you get people blinking in and out. And then there's also packet losses. So the trick is use all your AOs, spread the fight out across the entire map. You know, you don't want to have spread AOs within one town of each other. You know, because you got remember you got the air guys, the Navy guys, all that. So that all takes into factor. So spread the AOs across the entire map. That's why we have a large front line. You know, more fights and take more than 1-2 towns.
Yeah, that's a good point to make, Ohm. We'll wrap up on this question and move on to additional people by saying the player body requires only 4 people at this time to produce a system AO. The more population that we have online, the more AOs are available. That whole one man, one mission, one truck to initiate an AO and to get things rolling is something that our veteran players, you guys who know what the game is, are going to have to start educating and teaching people. CRS will do what we can to provide materials to these new folks in the form of visual training and graphics and guides. At the end of the day, most people aren't going to be reading that. They're going to show up and just expect things to happen. So in order to entertain, engage, and retain them, this is something we're all going to be responsible, including our members of CRS logging in during that period of time and supporting you guys. We're committed to that just as much as we're asking you to do, okay? It will be okay, but if we have them all in one spot, bad shit will happen. I hope that makes sense. Spread them out. Bebop, let's go to you, man.
Hey, dude, what's going on?
Feeling bad. My kid gave me pink eye, so I'm doing great.
Yeah, man, I could tell you feel a little, you sound a little under the weather. But question. So I know that this campaign you guys offered some more loadouts for free-to-play players, which I think is awesome. I think it definitely helps the free-to-play players feel like they're able to contribute. Is that something you guys are going to continue to do for the next few campaigns, or is it something that's going to be permanent? Or also, as far as supply, will supply be modified to adjust for that amount of free-to-play stuff that is usable?
So good questions all around. The whole theory that we're trying to test here is that will increased access to this stuff result into more people playing. We have an entirely free-to-play option here. We have the scope and capability and the infrastructure to hold a lot more players. What direction can we go to encourage that growth while simultaneously not making it so advantageous that people start dropping off their premium subscription? So this is a test. We will come back to the community and provide you our observations. We'll be very fair. If it results in more people playing, we're going to continue to explore how we can do that. It may not be the same set of equipment every time, but that's what we're trying to validate beyond just theory. We want to see it in actual practice. So the jury's still out on that one. I feel like I'm missing the second part of your question. What was the supply?
Yeah, supply.
Yes,
Supply.
I've spoke with Ohm, the game manager, and T-Man, who assists him as the assistant game manager. Yes, we will definitely be increasing supply. When we first released on Steam, we kind of did a little, and things just got obliterated, very much so. We're not ready to discuss those numbers, but we'll probably be very heavy on the riflemen, because those are the baseline level of access. And really, attrition battles must exist, right? But we don't make it. We want to make it so debilitating that just towns crumble instantly because of it. We want to have a good fight. So yes, there will be supply modifications, which will be fluid, and we'll need the grace of the community as the team manages that. Because I'm telling you, we're anticipating 6 times. It could be greater, it could be less. So we'll just have to see what we got. But we will go into that prepared with more supply and then just retract as needed.
Great.
All right. Let's go down the line here. Okay, we too low. Let's try that one again.
Hey, can you hear me now?
Yes. Hey.
Okay, so I just want to say proximity AOs are what brought me back. I played this game back in 2001 when my kid was still an infant. My question is, how far are you guys into the Unreal porting? And is that graphics changes going to affect the gameplay when it's all done?
So we're just starting. I think it was April is when our effective cutover date. Beforehand, we did some experimenting. We built some tools to kind of get some stuff rolling, but officially our dev team has just started. And your other question is too far out for me to effectively answer, but I wish I could. The good news is that we recognize and understand that our community, and just out of obvious recognition due to the how dated our technology and architecture is, we've been in the game engine maintenance business for such a long period of time. We need to get back to game development. So the other project that we had acquired, which is now World War II Online Choke Point, is acting as a fantastic training ground for our production team. Our developers are now learning Unreal, and we're trying to get some additional developers on board who already have that experience, because our game engine is proprietary. There's nothing else like it. So that way we can get both ends of the spectrum resolved and get our team up to speed. But make no mistake that our commitment to making that happen is very strong. It's going to be a multi-year effort, and the best thing we can do to give our developers the grace that they need and to help manage your expectations is right now be as non-committal in terms of timelines. We are 100% committed to making it happen, and we are making progress. We'll provide information as it becomes available, but I hope that helps answer some of your questions at least.
Yep, absolutely. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we'll actually have some more. In fact, hey, Corn, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I think this would be very beneficial to We2Low as well as other of our community members. Can you talk a little bit? We talked about the new workflow and basically some of the decisions that we've made internally to help accelerate the workflow and the trickle-down effect. So don't provide timelines of implementation at all of assets, but I think them learning about how we're evolving and what we're trying to do might provide a lot of substance to that.
Sure. Now, cut me off if I'm going into too much detail. I will try to keep it as vanilla as possible. But when I first mentioned the idea of us doing a trickle-down effect to effectively address both engines and improve both 1.0 and 2.0, we initially had started out on doing towed guns, which obviously are the simpler models to work with. And the initial timeline was looking pretty long with our pipeline that we had in place at the time, exceeding 6 weeks per vehicle, which isn't necessarily a workable thing. So we did a little bit of discussion within the team, came up with an idea for a new pipeline to try, and quite frankly, it has more than quadrupled the rate at which we're able to get things done. So, and I think a lot of that is going to be on front and center display with the next release we put out. I'm not going to give details on what that's going to entail, but I think everybody's going to see that our timeline for producing things has been dramatically shortened. So hopefully this will carry on throughout the entire process. Again, it's not going to be an overnight thing, but the pace at which we're able to do this is being refined and improving on a daily basis. So yeah, it's pretty exciting to see what is going on behind the scenes. But again, you guys will get a really good look at it with the next release that comes out.
Yeah, we definitely want to start showing tangible evidence of, and we are going to introduce some new vehicles that have been basically refactored. When I say new vehicles and refactoring, I mean re-imaged existing vehicles. And we're choosing to start with some of the more simplistic ones. You've seen the trucks, you're hearing about the light AA guns and whatnot. But essentially, these are some of the oldest models that World War II Online has as well. So in a way, we're kind of going back in time and rebuilding the game's assets in the same way that our predecessors did, which is actually pretty cool. Doomzilla, you got a question? Go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to know like how the trickle down effect's gonna work, and like how often will those new models come out? Are like you gonna wait for just like one big patch and add them all at one time, or will they just kind of like trickle in? You know?
Yeah, it's a good question. I'll talk about the trickle, the timeline, and Corn, you can talk about the mechanics. Cool.
Yeah, sure. So it's not going to be. So initially, CRS, we've always been of the opinion, keep everything balanced. We get a new weapon, new vehicle introduced, we try to balance it out across all sides. Well, keep in mind that we're not introducing new vehicles with what we're doing. We are basically sending them out to get a makeover and come back and send them to prom. So as soon as they are done, they go into the next release, given that there's enough time within that release cycle to be able to effectively test it. So to directly answer it, it's as they're done, they will be going through. And know in your mind that when you see them go through and enter into 1.0, those assets are also ready for the 2.0 engine as well at the same time.
All right, we'll move on to the next one. Adler?
Yeah, I had a question about the artillery. Is there a way that damage can be increased some to show how truly fearsome it was, both on the 105s, the mortars, and the ships? It just doesn't seem like it does the damage that it's capable of.
Sure, we'll take that feedback with no commitments, and we'll discuss that internally. I can't answer that right now, and I don't want my guys to, because we need to talk about it and look at the ballistics data. But yeah, we could certainly discuss that.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. All right, Anders 2334. Go ahead again.
Okay, just the general question, nothing related to Steam or whatever. Just a question. What engine does World War II Online run on? I'm just curious about it.
It's called the Unity 3D engine. However, it is a proprietary engine, and Playnet, the corporation, sold the rights to Unity as a registered trademark to the Unity that you know today.
Oh, cool.
That was a long time ago, but yes, it's its own engine. There's nothing else like it, which is why I'm saying it. The time it's taken our existing team to reverse engineer and understand it with limited documentation is why you might go, how the hell? It's been all these years and the game really hasn't evolved. What is going on? Well, we had to figure it out. And with the crash of 2012, that didn't leave a great opportunity for our predecessors to leave much in hand for us to work with. So CRS 2.0 picked up the pieces, kept the game alive with the community's support. Now we're at a point where there's enough collective knowledge that we can start to innovate. And you've seen over the years now, we've started to get a little bit more intense in terms of our deliveries. So now we're really going for a Hail Mary. There is a path forward. We can do it. But it's going to take a long time. We're once again having to, now that we've got all this knowledge of all these people, now we know what we're dealing with. Now we need to somehow get it over there to the next engine. This is not fast. This is not simple. This is extremely complicated and high risk. That is 2.0. it is extremely high risk, but we have found a path forward to do it. So when you say when, and this is for everybody, please be patient. And that's why we're not giving you timelines, because that pressure will feed into the team and it will cause some negative effects. We don't want that to occur. But good question. Pia Tony, let's go to you. Is Pia Tony there? Did I say your name wrong? Looks like you're on mute. All right, I'm going to move on. We'll come back to you when you're ready. KRM, go ahead.
Just quick, I wanted to let you guys know I did a good job doing the sounds. I had to relearn the game.
It's always our intent to find areas that we can improve. In fact, there are more sound updates. It's part of our funding plan as well. We're going to be purchasing some additional asset packs, and Corn's been having a really fun time blowing shit up nonstop. I think he might have an increased case of tinnitus, though. I don't know.
I will say, if you guys have listened to the new Wellington, that should give you an idea on the direction where the audio for the rest of the aircraft is going to.
You mean it's not a lawnmower anymore?
It sounds like it's going to fall out of the sky.
Yeah. No, and now, especially on a third person, you might even mistake it for a real plane flying over.
Okay. Other questions? If you got something out there, let's go back to Pia Tony. Do you got your mic working? You're unmuted, but I can't hear you. Oh, come on. He's trying. Give him credit. We'll come back. Eric's 4-5. Go ahead.
Yeah, just a quick question. I don't, in the kill death screen when somebody kills you, it's got the player's name.
Yeah.
Is there a way to add like what type of unit that was that killed you, or is that deliberate, like kind of just as like a fog of war kind of effect?
I'll let Sniper answer that. Sniper, you here? Sniper 6-2, are you present?
Yeah, I'm here. Is it possible? Yes. Is it on any of our timelines at the moment? No. So there's nothing really stopping more AAR information from being available. It's just one of those things where, do we have the resources to do it? As Zoom has pointed out a bunch of times, the majority of all dev resources are focused on 2.0 at the moment. So 1.0 is pretty much from a development perspective on maintenance for bugs, and then anything that pops up with production integrations to whatever they're bringing in later down the road. So yes and no, if that answers the question.
So just for your guys' awareness, Sniper is leading the charge as our development team lead. So when he says the game is on maintenance, he means from a programmer development point of view. But the production team is continuing to provide content and fixes where possible. So hope that makes sense and doesn't concern anybody there. But we've already stated that publicly a couple of times, so that should not be news. But that's more of a disclaimer. Pia Tony, let's try round 3.
Mic check.
Yes, go ahead.
All right, good. I was on not push to talk. I had a question. I think that AO balancing is going to really be important for players. Is there an opportunity to, on the map, provide some type of AO load so we can see what that looks like to help with the AOs as players?
Be more specific, seeing what the number of AOs available are.
No, just to see what the load is in a particular area, kind of like the air radar. If it's red, maybe that's something we want to not be at near, or change to a different AO to kind of help balance the load to have a visual.
I see what you mean. No, as Sniper just pointed out, right now that's a development effort. That's programming stuff. So therefore, instantly, that's out of scope for the time.
Okay, no problem. Just thought I'd ask.
That's a fair question and not a bad idea going forward. Anders, let's hear from you again. Anders, 2334, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Did you have another question?
Yeah, just maybe my last question. In the 2.0 port of World War II Online in the future. I know this is very far ahead in the future, not there yet, but is there going to be flamethrowers possibly? It's a bit of a question.
Damn, I hope so.
Yep. I've already asked
That'd
that.
be awesome. I got a pretty wicked Hank Hill impression, so I'd love to be yelling, "Y'all got any propane like that around?"
I've
So
asked that already in the past. I know. I've asked it already in the past with the stream back then, but is it possible?
I mean, it's technically possible. We've seen that in one of our competitors' games not long ago. They introduced it, so I mean,
Let loose, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but we're not them, and we would have to develop that. But yeah, I would say this: if that's something we're seriously looking at and want to explore, we'd probably try to implement it into Choke Point first, and then just kind of see how it goes. Because
That
the
would be
basis
fun.
of all World War II Online 2.0 infantry stuff and weaponry is coming through the Choke Point project. All right, well, let's keep the ball rolling. Mig, what do you got?
Oh, hey, I was just wondering, have you guys considered using AI to upscale textures for 1.0?
Yeah, we've looked at that a little bit. It doesn't necessarily produce a great result. Further, this new trickle-down effort is replacing existing assets, so it's achieving a similar thing, but instead of trying to hit an easy button that produces kind of bunk results on occasion, this is a more appropriate because it also adds a greater poly count, therefore better models and a better UV layout to work with. But yeah, good question. Players have been mentioning that to us for years, and we did explore with it. We have done a couple, but textures alone are not going to improve the visual appeal of our rather dated game, particularly with some of these assets we're addressing are 2001, 2002 era assets. I mean, they just need a new model, period. Okay, well, I'm not seeing any more requests for questions. We'll give it a little bit more. We'll probably bail out of here in the next 13 minutes. So if you've got a question, let's go. Preferably some people we have not yet heard from. That'd be cool.
I know this conversation came from the Steam release to current and future developments of World War II Online, but yeah, I'm personally really excited to see all the new or the influx of players, and it was really exciting the first time around for those of you that were there. It was amazing, um, seeing that big flux of players in game, and you know, some of them stuck with us and have been with us ever since. Some have come and gone and stuff, but communication is going to be key. One thing I do want to mention is, we do have the tutorial series. It's a video series that they can go to. It's WWIIonline.com/tutorials. So if you get players, even now, I mean, it's been up for a while, but it's just a bunch of different short videos that people can go through and check stuff out. So WWIIonline.com/tutorials.
Stackhill, you got a question?
Yes, topographic maps, elevations and things like that, non-color, if possible. Is that something in the framework?
We've talked. I've heard that one for many years. It is not currently in the framework, and anything that requires new development. So I think let's be more clear in defining what that means. And this isn't just that this is for everybody. If it's not related to an asset, whether it's a vehicle, a building, the terrain, the sound, the visual experience of World War II Online, if it's new implementation of any development work, consider it non-actionable at this time, as we have moved all all developers over to the porting of World War II Online to the Unreal Engine. So anything that demands new things that's not vehicles or sounds or visual stuff, don't bring it up. Only because it's going to be disappointing news. It's not happening. The good news, which is huge, is the fact that we've taken on this challenge and we've said, okay, we're going to go for it. And that's half the battle right there, man. The next half is just getting it done, and that will occur over time with your guys' continued support. We too, go Go ahead.
Hey, I have a question. So I have Choke Point. When it released, I got it, and I can go in there and look at stuff. Is that a good indication of what the game's going to look like in 2.0?
Hard to say, but that is definitely the direction. There's lighting things we want to do. There's areas we need to improve. Because it's in the Unreal Engine, you could say as much. We also did a UE4 demo, which might be a bit more representative. I think it would be. We intend to, at the earliest opportunity, and that's going to be a bit, when we start to develop the 2.0 a little bit better, to show you guys the progress that we're making. But I would say tentatively non-committal, likely. Now, the assets and things we're developing inside of Choke Point, not just the infantry and the weaponry and animations and all that stuff, but also the buildings and environmental objects. Those are also definitely usable should we choose to be utilized in 2.0. By then, hopefully we have even better looking stuff. Okay. Well, lots of good questions here. As Chim indicated, we always know that as we do these rat chats, we want to answer your questions and maintain enthusiasm and keep things up. We'll do what we can to further communicate the progress we're making more officially. Today is really more just about acknowledging this is coming, the Steam release. It's going to have a huge, explosion of players. Knock on wood. Hope it works out. It's now, with that information, we need you to go out there and start letting your squads know. We need to get prepared. We need to come up with a recruiting system. We need to find the best way possible to keep people engaged. And also, we need to get ready for setting up AOs, making sure the server doesn't blow up, because it will, guys. It will blow up if you put them all in one AO. So we have to avoid that at all costs. There's nothing we can do with this open, free world for you to play in to really control that without some pretty serious stuff. So we're not going to explore that. Calwood, I'll give you and Doomzilla an opportunity. From there, we'll go to our rats, give them a chance to speak, and then we'll wrap up. So, Cal, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to say for the training, we do have the training core. We do host trainings posted on the training events, but when we do have the Steam release, is there a way we can get some kind of like pointer for the new Steam people that may join the Discord, to, like an easier way to help find the training request channel?
Yes.
To be able to ask for training and stuff like that?
Yes, please. I know that you are actively communicating with Euphabone. I've already asked him to start looking at our onboarding process with in fact, there's a whole new thing on Discord that allows for onboarding, and we have a welcome message that directs him to certain channels. Work with him to discuss ideas and maybe support him in any testing to figure out what we need to do better, because I agree. Every rock needs to be turned over and evaluated as we prepare for this in terms of materials, but also providing clear, concise, easy to understand directions on what to do, where to go, what information they need. And realistically, that can be summed up as, how do I log into the game? Where do I find the battle? How do I talk? And that's start there. Like that, keep it simple. Like, we got to use voice comms, period. And I mean in-game, not just on Discord. That's another thing to talk to your squads about. Hey, on this date, July 6th, make sure we're all using in-game voice, because otherwise people are going to log in. It's going to be a ghost town. You might be like having great comms on Discord, but to them it's going to feel like, what the hell am I doing? What's happening? I don't get it. Doomzilla, let's go to you.
Cal beat me. I was just gonna bring up the trading core. Yeah.
Yep. Cool. All right. Well, then on that note, I'll give Pulfer a shot, and then we're going to move on to the rats. Pulfer, you're the last question we're answering. You're muted though, so you might want to fix that. All right, cool. good chat. Let's see here. I'm going to go to some of our rats. If there's anything you want to say before we depart. TR6 Al, let's go to you, and then we'll go to Sniper.
Okay. just basically to say I'm still working on terrain, still expanding as much as I can. Plus doing other things that I'm hopefully will improve gameplay, help people enjoy the game, and if you have suggestions, let me know. I'll see what I can do.
Cool. All right, let's go to Sniper and then Pilot MC after that.
Nothing crazy for me. Just appreciate you guys' support. Thanks again for the fundraiser, as mentioned before. Good things to come, so stick around. Thanks.
All right, Pilot MC and then Mandrill.
Hey guys, nothing here on this side. Lots of good questions, and get out there and use field artillery. Damn it.
America. All right. Let's go to Mandrill and then Bly. We'll go to you after that.
Well, it's all good here. I've been playing this game since beta, and I'm really encouraged on where everything's going. Hopefully, it's around for another 20 years.
Thanks. All right, Bly, let's go to you, and then Corn after that.
Yeah, I just want to say I'm looking forward to the future. Thanks to everyone as well for sticking with us, and keep the bug reports coming in. If you see something in game, just do the bug report. We do go through them. We do keep an eye on them as well.
All right, Corn, let's go to you, and then Chim. Corn, you are currently muted.
I did want to say that that was a good point. We do keep track of the bugs. We do watch the forums. Some might seem like they're moving slower than others, but understand we're trying to balance priority over introduction of what we're doing and cleanup of other things. But do note that things that do get reported, we do have on the list to be done. Awesome that you guys are sticking around and supporting us. Thank you for the fundraiser. Lots of good stuff coming ahead.
Copy that. Chim, go ahead.
I just want to thank everybody that showed up today. We've got a long history, and we want to we want to make this happen, and I'm personally really excited for the Steam release. I think it's going to be great. One word of caution: don't wait until the last minute to try to get your team, your squad pulled together and situated. Everything that we talked about as far as the preparation for the Steam release and stuff is all stuff that can be discussed and implemented now, and to help out the gameplay going on right now. So anyway, once again, I personally thank everybody in here for showing up. It just means a lot to me and the CRS team for all the support that you guys have, and obviously shows how passionate you all are with what we're doing.
Well, this is a huge opportunity for us guys. I'll part on this with you. The tumultuous period that the World War II gaming genre has been under over the beginning of this year, and if you see this industry, I mean, you've seen major layoffs with big companies. The whole tech industry is having a fairly hard time. But most certainly, unlike anything I've ever seen before, the World War II gaming market is seeing a huge rubber band just snap. We're very fortunate to be here. We wish the conditions were better, but we're here. We're here with you. We're not under any extreme threat or any threat of continued operations. We are okay, but we could be better. So we want to thank you for your continued subscriptions and support. That provides us the absolutely necessary fuel to maintain those operations. We're very blessed to have a large number of volunteers that are on this team. We're investing where we can to get the tools we need to do the job that we all seek to fulfill. We're buying new assets and things like that to improve your game experience. We are subcontracting where necessary to accelerate timeline implementation of things. Obviously, we're keeping the server bills resolved, otherwise you wouldn't be there. Basically, I'm just trying to recap and say this stuff is not for free. This is not simple, but it is doable, and we've managed to find a situation and set of circumstances that provides us the best opportunity to go forward. This opportunity of releasing on Steam is going to drive a lot of people to this game. With all the knowledge that you've obtained today and the recognition of what this is, it's now up to you and us, not one or the other exclusively, to capitalize on that. That means getting the people here and keeping them here, and then hopefully converting them into a subscriber. But as long as we keep them playing, as long as we just do that, and there is a perpetually free option for that, this will be a success. So what we do in game, whether it's keeping our heads cool, not freaking out, using voice comms, engaging new players, keeping them part of your squad, all these things are going to matter. That's you. You guys are the content that produces more content, and we will be there during Steam launch with you, shoulder to shoulder, to back them up. So I want to thank you all for being here today. This concludes our Rat Chat. If you wish to stick around, we can have a more informal discussion. If you need to go, thank you. Have a great